Views and opinions of any of the guests of After Hours AM are not necessarily the views and opinions of After Hours AM, its hosts, its staff, or any of its affiliates.
Welcome to the After Hours program.
Are you
Now broadcasting live from the After Hours AM studio, Joel Sturgis and Eric Olsen.
After Hours AM, everybody. It has been a heck of a day, man. It has just been crazy. Got some great programming news right at the top. Jeff Mudgett will be joining us the 12th of July to talk about his new show on History Channel, American Ripper. Just got off the phone with him about an hour ago, getting that all sheared up, getting him to come on after the premiere so he can give us the down and dirty, Eric. The down and dirty.
He'll be divulging it. By the way, you have not identified yourself.
I have not. It's been one of the, like I said, just hectic as all hell around here. I'm Joel Sturgis, like always, like even last night, even the hateful emails that we've been receiving about last night's show, by the way, that kind of hurt my feelings a little bit.
Yes. What, pray tell?
Well, we talked about Charles Lindbergh possibly murdering his own child. It was a theory. It's a theory, guys. We did not say old Chuck was killing anybody.
We still have defenders?
We still had defenders.
100 years
100 years later, they're like, I knew Charles. He would never do a thing like that. And I mean, it was hateful, man. It was hateful. It made me cry for like a second. And I'm like,
just
wait a minute.
Because this guy has bad enough body odor that he's going to get in an airplane and cross the Atlantic by himself does not mean he's a swell guy.
No, it does not.
Nazi.
He was investigated for that.
Eric,
yes.
Go first.
Allegedly, Eric. Allegedly, I don't want more emails.
He had another family in Germany, and he probably killed his own son.
Eric, allegedly. Allegedly. I don't want any more emails, man. Allegedly. Throw that in there. Our attorneys tell us to say allegedly. Allegedly.
He's dead. Long dead.
Long dead, but evidently there are family members out there that we must have touched a nerve with. So there again, it wasn't really our theory. It was his. So, well, tonight we got a great show on tap, though. We're doing what we do best tonight. Not true crime, but we're going into the paranormal wheelhouse, man. And we got two of, good friends of mine. Great guys. Two brothers from other mothers right here with us. Number one, we have Abe Del Rio, man. Remember, I went squatching with Abe. And it was quite the experience. I got to say, I was honored to go with him. He kind of, grabbed me and said, hey, let's go. And he welcomed me into the Bigfoot family, so to speak. And really, I've been learning a lot from Abe as we're going here. And, like we used to say, until you do it, don't knock it. And I went out there and actually did this time. And we
No
will
pun
talk
intended.
about it. Exactly. No pun intended. And then we have from the Remer Chamber of Commerce, Marc Ruyak is on the show with us again. Last year he was on, of course, for Bigfoot Days. First annuals last year. Now mark your calendars, July 7th and 8th in Remer, Minnesota. Yeah, you can go. You can go check out Bigfoot Days. The home of Bigfoot. That's right. The big hairy man is there in Remer, and so are some really, really awesome people. So without any further ado, Marc and Abe, hey guys, welcome to After Hours.
Hey, Joe. It's good to talk with you again.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Joel and Eric, how are you guys doing?
Well, we're holding
We
up the
are
best we
rocking
can.
and we thumbs down to Charles Lindbergh.
Man, are you still on
It's
that,
always-
man? You're still on that now. You haven't let that
Screw
go
those
yet.
people, man.
I hear ya. I do. I hear ya. I feel your pain, Eric.
Thank you.
I feel it. I firmly feel it. But
What we need to hear about is your weekend trip, and I would love to hear it from your novice perspective. And
yeah.
Now, did both Marc and Abe go, or just
No,
Abe?
it was me and Abe. And see, now I am definitely a novice. And I told that to Abe right up front. He'll tell you that. I said, hey, man, this is not, I've never done this before. This is all new to me because, hey, there's no sense in saying, yeah, I've hunted Bigfoot lots. No sense in even saying that to someone as seasoned as Abe is. 17 years in the field.
And Eric, I got to tell you, we were knocking more than trees. His knees were knocking.
They were a little bit. They were just a little bit. I got to say, we saw some strange things, some pretty cool things. And really, though, before I get into that, I got to give a big shout out to the folks in Remer that were so warm and so welcoming to me. Everyone from the Rusty Bucket to the hotel over there, Steve Williams over there, everybody was warm and welcoming. Really, I didn't know what to expect because small towns are one of two ways. Either they accept you or they're like, you're not from here, get the hell out of here. Guys, you get a chance to go to Remer, you're going to love it. The people make the trip worth
Joel,
it.
Yeah, one of the things about us is when you come to town and they're talking Bigfoot, and Abe will vouch for this. If you're talking Bigfoot and looking for Bigfoot, there's no better area to come to with the deep, dark swamps that we have, and you'll have a blast here. And if you're coming here and talking Bigfoot and looking, even if you're a novice, the people are going to just flock to you and help you out and talk to you about stories and events and all kinds of things. So it's a perfect place to come.
Well, it did help us walking the streets of Remer with Jesus, pretty much. Yeah. I was, because everybody in that town was stopping
No,
Abe. It was like walking Nazareth was Jesus. It was like, wow.
This town loves Abe.
This
I
is
mean,
what
he's
it's
Mr.
like to
Bigfoot.
walk in Graceland with Elvis. This must be what it must have been like.
Oh, I thought you were talking literally about Jesus.
No, they really, now the fine folks of Remer, really, he is one of Remer's sons. Really, he is.
Yeah.
Abe really is.
Absolutely.
And when,
God.
when we
He's a-
showed up there,
He's
yeah, Marc, go ahead, man. Take it away.
He's he's been arm in arm with us early on through this whole discovery phase, and even before we realized that, hey, this is the center of everything. And early on, when we started to touch base with the guys from Finding Bigfoot and talking about, hey, this is it, and Abe was there through all that, and people got to know him before any of the cast and crew and everything else. So people recognize him when he comes back to town. It's fun to grab him and say, hey, I saw this, or I heard this, or what have you heard and seen in the last few months since I saw you last? So yeah, it's great. It's a great community now, and it's not just our community, but it's amazing the people that we've had in our little town from across the U.S. talking about squatching.
Yes. And it is a little town, and I thank you for the nice words there, Marc. I love Remer. I love going up to Remer, and like you mentioned, it is a little town, but it's the hearts that are so big in that community that makes it such a warming community to come to. I can't get enough to it.
Yeah,
I'm actually kind of thinking about coming up there again
this weekend, Abe. Are you talking?
I'm thinking so. Yeah. I mean,
really?
Saturday. I just might come up there for the day and show the little lady around and say, hey, what's going on?
Joel, and Eric, the other cool thing, and I know, Joel, you've been here, but Eric, you haven't, but every store and every restaurant and every place you walk into, there's something Bigfoot. You walk into the Woodsman restaurant, there's Bigfoot hash browns. You go into the grocery store and there's Bigfoot fudge and Bigfoot chocolates and T-shirts, and the whole town is jacked about Bigfoot. You go into the Ice Cube and they have silver medallions that came from Canada, and they have a tiny little Bigfoot stamped into them at the bottom. So everybody has a story or an affection or both for Bigfoot.
And a lot of sightings. Let's not forget that.
Oh, my Lord.
A lot of sightings now. I've been to a lot of small towns that have had claim to fame of this creature or that creature. Remer, though, is different because these people all have stories. It wasn't just one or two people. Everybody had some type of story.
Yeah, and it's been amazing in the last year what has come out. In fact, Abe, I called Abe about 2 months ago because one of our nearby resort owners had some people that were coming to stay at their resort that wanted to go out and look for Bigfoot. And so I quickly called Abe, and he took the people out to hunt for Bigfoot. And just tonight, I was talking to one of the other resort owners, the owners of Balsam Bay right here on Big Sand, and they said they had a couple of weeks ago some people stay at their resort, and they had the owners of the resort had a trail camera out because they had a bear coming in and tearing up the garbage. Mm-hmm. And they pulled the trail camera the next morning, and lo and behold, here are these two ladies out at 2 a.m. with a flashlight walking through the woods looking and listening for Bigfoot. And so it is just amazing that, and Abe will vouch, and Joel, you will too, that this is absolutely the perfect area and environment to go look for Bigfoot because, the woods are so dense and the swamps and the different areas that we have. And you're going to go out there, and half the time you're out there, you're going to hear or see or find something related to Bigfoot.
Yeah, I have to say that the terrain is it's squatchy, man. It's squatchy. It just screams squatch when you're out there and about. And I was, getting to my story now, because I know Eric had asked, well, what a novice point of view is. I showed up. I really brought myself tent, food. I didn't not know what to expect. This is my first time on a expedition like this. I had gone looking for lake monsters. I had done this. I had done that because Peppy, of course, the lake monster. I've gone with Chad Lewis doing that in the past. So I thought, well, we're not going to be a boat, so we don't have the comfort of being able to run away really fast should we find one. And, of course, Abe, that was in the back of my head the whole time. What am I going to do? What am I going to do when we find this thing? And let's just be honest, you could outrun me in a New York minute. I would be so screwed. I'm thinking, oh, crap, man. He's so going to feed me to Bigfoot and film it. That's what he's going to do. I just know it. But no.
As long as your socks stay dry,
yeah.
You did a good job.
So I get there, and Abe has already set up his portion of the camp, and I show up, and we start talking a little bit. And again, I am as novice comes. I will not pretend to know a whole lot about Bigfoot, although I am eager to learn. And if someone's eager to learn,
glamping trip, by the way,
it was a camping and
was it a glamping?
What's
trip?
Glamping? I guess you're gonna have to explain what glamping is.
Glamour camping.
Oh no, there was no glamour involved here, man. There was really no glamour involved. It was really as thick as Marc is saying the woods. I was actually a little shocked how thick they were. And so when I got into it, in fact, my poor truck sustained a boo-boo, which my friends and I affectionately call my badge of honor, because you're not a true Squatch hunter until you bend where there's no road. And we were, Abe, where there was no road. Even though your little GPS said there was a road, sir, that was not a road.
Well, I'm sticking to the GPS, and I showed you myself, and you're like, "Oh, okay, well, let's give it a try." But nonetheless, your truck's a trooper, and it went through initiation just fine.
It did make
except
it.
The bumper, except the bumper that we had to do some duct tape on.
That is all, and thank God we limped ourselves into Remer. Which most small towns, mine included, things kind of pack up about after 9 o'clock at night. Yeah, it's hard to find there's no Walmart that's open in Remer, but thankfully we found a Civic station that was open, and we bought, I can't believe I paid $3 for a small roll of duct tape, but there I was buying $3 roll of duct tape. Ouch, still hurts a little bit. But that notwithstanding, I did not know what to expect. Now, the thing that freaked me out before we were bedding down for that night, because I only stayed the one night, I had to get back because I had some stuff going on, the trail cam started going off. And I don't know what was making that trail cam go off, but you couldn't pay me $1 million to get out and check. You could not have... Abe could have yelled at me and said, "I got $1 million if you want to get out." No, I would have said no. And I was terrified for a split second because it was really just going off as trail cam. I was thinking, oh, crap. Here, oh, man, I just know it. Hopefully he's not friends with those damn probing aliens. God, I'm scared right now. Well, nothing happened, of course, but it was the moment. It's that moment that you live for, that little bit of adrenaline rush. The what might be out there. And Eric, long story short, I want to learn more. I've kind of got bitten by the Bigfoot bug here, and I want to learn more. That's
well,
my
you said
knowledge.
You heard some tree knocking, so that sounds like evidence
stuff,
to me.
and then now Abe he has a story of his own that I found to be quite. If you're willing to tell it, Abe, if you don't want to, you don't have to. But it was quite compelling. And it made me think twice.
Well, refresh my memory. I got doing this for 17 years now. What kind of story?
Oh, you're enjoying your s'mores, remember? And you ended up in the ER.
Oh, yes. Oh, right. So, prior to Joe coming there, I got up in Remer Wednesday night with a couple who recently had a sighting on Leech Lake there in Minnesota. And they wanted to, come out and see what it is that I do. So they were with me Wednesday night. They spent the night out in the field with me. Thursday, they showed back up and hung around for a little while and just got done cooking some steaks. And I was on the dessert. I was on my second s'more at that time. Standing and just talking, having a great time, feeling good all the way up till then. Out of nowhere, and this is odd, out of nowhere, I feel it's just like, bam! I'm like, whoa! I felt a pain in my chest. And then it happened again. I was like, whoa, what the heck? It was the next pain was just a little bit higher than the first one. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck? So I'm like, oh, okay, something's going on. So, I kind of play into it a little bit, but I'm keeping my focus and whatnot. I'm like, they're asking me, what's going on? I said, what's going on? I said, I just got a pain in my chest. I'm starting to think what's going on. I thought it was something, going on with a personal family member. I called a couple people that turned out to be okay. I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on? I had the symptoms of a panic attack. Rapid heartbeat. My hands were cold. From my waist down, my legs were shaking. And I was just like disoriented a little bit, just kind of confused. which is really weird. This is the first time it's happened to me. But so during this whole episode that I'm having, the couple that I'm with hear two whoops from across the lake. And they both were in higher tone, but one higher than the other, if that makes any sense. So I don't know. I totally can't relate this to Bigfoot, but people they call this infrasound. Excuse me. Now, what infrasound is, it's a sound wave.
Was that infrasound right there?
What infrasound is, it's a sound wave that's below human hearing range that gives you that effect that you are having. You get to sick. Sometimes it can totally disorient you. It could actually make you nauseous. I did feel a little nauseous, as a matter of fact, now that thinking back, makes you nauseous. It's not a good ordeal, and the government knows about this as well, and they have done studies about this on crowd control. So it is a known thing. Great cats use it, elephants use it, crocodiles use it. It is the thing that African cats use too. So it is out there. It's a real thing, and I'm feeling this. Now, from doing this for 17 years and knowing a lot of people in the Bigfoot community, they call it, they think that Bigfoot could possibly have the ability to project infrasound to get you disoriented or as a way as get you out of an area. Now, was I targeted? Now, this is all speculative thought here. I'm not saying for sure or yay or nay about this, but was I being targeted by a male or a female that was on our side that targeted me because I am the bigger one that was there in the group? They wanted to take the head guy out, and it worked. It made me leave. I went to the emergency room, got checked out. EKGs were immaculate. Blood pressure was just fine. I had a full-blown panic attack, and I had no idea why. I played every possibility in my mind why something like that would occur. Can I say it was done by a Bigfoot? I wish I could. Can I say it wasn't? I can't rule that out either. But it was a strange occurrence.
So here I come, and Abe looks at me and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, I think I was attacked last night." What? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's making me feel great already. I'm thinking, well, maybe I should get back in the truck here. Abe, hey man, good hunting, and I will talk to you later. What do you mean you're attacked? And he relayed that story to me. But yeah, I did hear some knocking. We did come across some evidence of Bigfoot. We that trap that we found that was made, my best guess is by a Bigfoot, because no natural way that I want to say it was a motion trap. Abe, you had a name for that trap and what it does.
It's an arch formation, and what it does is. What an arch formation is believed that, a Bigfoot will bend a tree and pin it down by other debris, or actually bury a part of the tip of the branches into the ground, or weave it in with other things to keep it from springing back up. It's not a trap in any way, shape, or form. Like, I think why you call it a trap, because it almost resembles a snare of some
It kind of does. It really does.
Yeah. And I can totally see where you're coming from with that. But this right here was a full-blown arch formation. Now, it's all speculative on what it could be, but we do know that it is some type of marker. That's all we can really say about that, along with TP formations, X formations, pile-ups, and stack-ups. There's a few different style of formations that we believe that are attributed to Sasquatch, because they are found in areas where there have been sightings. And it definitely takes something with hands to manipulate it in the style and fashion that we find, and I keep an eye open for when I'm out in the field doing research.
Yeah, you saw that pretty fast. In fact, you're in a moving vehicle when you saw that. So that's a testament to how keen your eye is.
Right. Well, the thing is, that's not the thing that caught my eye. Remember, I said, that wasn't the thing that even caught my eye. It was that big possible X formations, which I did check out.
and I had to rule that off to just a strange natural occurrence. But that arch formation, to me, that was something.
Well, yeah, that's not a natural deal there. No tree is going to get bent over like that perfectly in a rainbow and then purposely be held down by debris. I mean, that's just not going to happen in nature, generally speaking.
No.
In my opinion. Anyway.
Right. And I totally agree with you. It is definitely not a natural occurrence. And especially, being pinned down, you're totally right. You are totally right, bro. So that's one of the many things that I look at and look for while out in the field and research. And plus, we're up in Remer, Minnesota.
Yeah.
The home of Bigfoot. It's all over, well, I should say all over the place, but we're lucky to find stuff. I mean, we're in areas where Bigfoot has been sighted. I interviewed a 16-year-old girl who has had a sighting about a month ago, just a block away on a dirt road from the ambulance building up there, which is a great story. Across the road, it was a tannish-colored Bigfoot. They were in a car going to a bonfire, and they crossed the road right in front of them. So she was able to relay that story to me, and that's recent, a month ago. And plus, a couple of months ago, like Marc said, he got a hold of me, a resort got a hold of him. Lo and behold, people are out there having fun in the area of Remer, which is great. It's a great place to do this. It's a great place to do this. Always people practice safety first and know your wildlife, your flora and fauna. It's just all in safety. Seriously.
Yeah, we were always safe. I never felt like I was physically in peril, but I just didn't know if the big guy was going to make an appearance and I'd become lunch.
Well, the master plan kind of backfired on that, but I'm glad you're safe.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe next time I'll wear the bacon grease. The bacon grease cologne I was not going to wear. I'm sorry. It just was not going to happen that day. But,
So I had the bacon grease ready. I had the peanut butter ready. I had the Sasquatch pheromone chips ready. I was just, kind of hoping you'd go to bed a little bit earlier.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, I did not sleep a whole lot, let me tell you. I was not joking. I did seriously have some Jack Links with me.
Well, then you were glamping.
I was camping. So I was thinking.
Clearly glamping if you had Jack.
I did. It was glamping, Eric. It really was. And I thought, well, it works in the commercials. So if I need a diversion, I'll just throw that Jack Links.
Super quick commentary here because we're almost to the bottom of the hour. I'd love coming out of the bottom of the hour break. I'd love to hear Abe's most compelling Bigfoot experiences. That would be wonderful. But just super quick, I'm fascinated and I've actually done a fair amount of research actually into infrasound. And I know it's a real thing. And yeah, it can really, really wipe you out. I mean, it can cause all kinds of physical problems, real physical problems, including panic attacks, which feel awful. I had one a couple of years ago, and you think you're dying, frankly, because it's the same symptoms as a heart attack. And so I just wanted to make a quick comment on that I know that's a real thing. And I do know that there are animals out there who can at least, on some level, generate that. So if Bigfoot is real, it certainly would make sense. It would not be bizarre that he would be able to, in fact, generate that sound. The other thing, just real quick, I wanted to mention is we need to get into, now, when is the Remer event? I know there's a super big weekend and all things Bigfoot and a big festival and everything. We got to get into that as well.
When we come back. Yeah, we'll go to break, and then when we come back, don't go anywhere. More Abe Del Rio, Marc Ruyak. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this. More Bigfoot hijinks.
It's hard to believe it was just last night when it all hit me. I fell on the floor and watched the ceiling fan go round.
Hey, you're listening to After Hours AM, and if you're listening to us via podcast, make sure you like us, follow us, review us, tell your friends about us, tell grandma about us, and keep listening.
This is Jen McGowan, founder of Wayward Souls Promotions, a company dedicated to helping individuals, teams, radio shows, and others that are seeking exposure for their individual events, conventions, and shows. We offer a wide variety of advertising, such as web-based article, social media posts, podcast advertisement, and so on. Contact us at paranormalpromotion@gmail.com, visit us on Facebook at Wayward Souls Promotions, and visit our website at www.waywardsoulspromotions.com.
Anavar Media LCC is a dedicated team of professionals committed to helping business development scale and protect their websites, mobile applications, enterprise software solutions in the Northeast Ohio area. Locally owned since 2012, our client-centered values truly sets Anavar apart. Contact us today to learn how you can get 25% off your first project. Call them at 234-380-4852. Again, that's 234-380-4852, or visit them at www.anavar.com. Again, that's www.anavar.com.
It's your ideas, work, and creativity that make it your yard. At ACE, we're here to help with hoses and sprinklers to nurture growth, gardening tools for the shape of good things to come, even the right fertilizer and bug killers to make the grass a little greener. You'll find it all now at ACE, your place, with everything you need for your yard, plus helpful advice, almost like we're right there. ACE,
the helpful place.
You're listening to After Hours AM. Do you have a question for the guests or even the host? That's really easy. Go ahead and email those questions to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Are you feeling like picking up the phone and being part of the show? Call us at 612-326-6874, 612-326-6874. Come be part of the madness.
You're just sitting there, all high and mighty in your diaper. If anything, you need me. You're a baby.
Come on, Mouse.
Don't you dare take Miles. You can take the children, but you leave me my monkey.
Welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Eric Olsen.
And we are talking tonight with Abe Del Rio and Marc Ruyak tonight. Hey, I got it right. Hey, come on. No applause.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, finally. Good job, right? Checks in the mail, right, Marc? We are talking all things Bigfoot this first hour. And Remer, Minnesota is a great little town. And you guys are the home of Bigfoot. And that being said, to the people just tuning in, you will have a chance to go to something that they call Bigfoot Days. Now, Bigfoot Days is pretty flippin' cool. But I'm going to let Marc fill everyone in on the Bigfoot Days.
So it's a great festival, Joel, and it is July 7th and 8th. So Friday, July 7th, Saturday, July 8th in Remer, Minnesota. And as you said, it's called Bigfoot Days. And we have a whole bunch of events and fun, and probably the biggest thing is not listed as an event, and that is that the town will be filled with every range of people, from those who have not seen or heard anything about Bigfoot and are curious, to those people who have had multiple experiences or sightings, or someone like Abe, who's been hunting Bigfoot for 17 years and has volumes of experiences and times out in the woods squatching. So it's a great time to be in our town and explore Bigfoot and all there is around Bigfoot. Friday evening, we have a couple events. We have live music because everybody likes to start off the night with a little live music out in front of the depot. And then we have a group of Bigfoot hunters called the She Squatchers. And they're going to be telling some of their stories of experiences they've had and people they've talked with. And we'll also allow people to come up and tell their own stories, which is always the most fun. I think Abe might even make it there on Friday evening. We'll see how that turns out, but he'd be storytelling as well. Then we have... Go ahead, Abe.
No, I was just going to say, it turns out I will be able to make it. Things worked out by the grace of God, and I will be there doing a little storytelling and as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a great time. Yeah.
And one thing cool...
And we have our first... Of course, in northern Minnesota, a great thing for us to do is to have a meat raffle. So we're going to have our first of 2 Bigfoot meat raffles on Friday evening. And, our thing is, hey, bring a chair and have a beverage with Bigfoot. So we're going to have a beer wagon, Bloody Mary bar there. What would a Friday evening be without a beverage of choice? So Saturday really is the huge day of just multiple events, and it starts off with a pancake breakfast. At 9:30 a.m. there's the second annual Bigfoot 5K that you can register for at active.com. We have a flea market all day. We have a bouncy house and kids games. We have at 11 o'clock we have an adult Bigfoot geocache competition. We have an ATV ride for cancer at noon. There's a kids ATV parade. At 12:30, we have a kids scavenger hunt. We have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. At 1:30 p.m., we have live music again at the depot. 2:30 p.m., Abe and his Minnesota Bigfoot research team and then the She Squatchers will both be at the depot on the stage telling stories, as well as we'll allow people in the audience to come up and tell their stories. And once again, that's really the fun event, is because you hear so many different things and you realize that everyone has a story and has an experience, and they're all interesting. Then at 3 p.m., we have the finals of our Bigfoot barbecue contest. Last year, we had a great time with the barbecue contest, and they were selling some of the best barbecue in the state. So that's a great thing. Once again, if you want to sign up for that, go to our Facebook page or homeofbigfoot.com. At 4 p.m., we have our kids' Bigfoot calling contest, which last year was just an absolute success and a lot of fun for everyone. At 6 p.m., we have the second Bigfoot meat raffle at our municipal bar in town. And then at 10 p.m., we have an adult Bigfoot calling contest at the pub in Remer. And once again, last year, that was probably one of well, it tied a bow on the whole weekend, put it that way. Everybody was having fun, and it just was a great time. You can find out more about all of this and sign up for the 5K and the barbecue contest at homeofbigfoot.com or on our Facebook page, Home of Bigfoot. And I invite everyone to come up and join us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that was smooth.
that was.
Many things quickly without stumbling once.
I see that, man.
Have you done this before?
I wish we were that good.
I just got to say, it is a blast. I mean, it's just such a great time. It's the atmosphere is exciting. You can feel the liveness going on, and just the camaraderie and people, and visiting with the locals and getting to know them, rubbing elbows with them, taking pictures, hearing their stories. It's if you haven't experienced it, put it on to your to-do list. That's Remer, Minnesota Bigfoot Days, July 7th and 8th.
I have one complaint, and that complaint is Bloody Marys on Friday night? The Bloody Mary should be on Saturday morning with those pancakes, my friends.
I think that, believe it or not, I think the Bloody Mary bar and the beer wagon will be there Saturday morning as well.
The beer wagon. You gotta love a beer wagon.
Then I take it back.
Is the beer wagon mobile? Does it go up and down the street?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good,
It's
good.
got a trailer hitch, and it goes where we go. You're right about that.
I will make every effort to get there myself. After Hours Nation, I will be there, hopefully, to witness this myself. I'll make every effort to make the trip over to Remer, check it out live, maybe even work in a remote, Eric. I think we could probably make that happen.
Ooh.
And get some people on air with me telling their own tales about what they've seen in the area, their own experiences. And by the way, just to let everyone know, because I know he'd never say it, Abe is a heck of a guy. If you have Bigfoot questions, he is more than happy to talk with you about it. He is a genuinely nice person, and he really loves what he does, and that shines through. And so, Abe, man, you are one of a kind out there.
Well, you know, I appreciate that, and I truly got to fast for that. But, you know, above and beyond, I just got to thank the God, Lord Almighty himself, God, for just giving me all that I have and the people in my life. And without him, truly and honestly, you guys, I wouldn't be where I am. So thanks, God. Thanks, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Abe, we got to shift gears here a little bit. The Bigfoot Festival is cool. Let's talk about Bigfoot himself.
Yeah.
Now,
yes.
You and I, we talked a lot during the weekend about your experiences.
Yes.
What was the moment that made you go, holy crap, these things are real?
Oh, that was our very first expedition. And for the people who haven't heard me on your show before, I'd be more than happy to reiterate.
Absolutely.
It was 2001, and we wanted to do our expedition. So we were looking on the internet to see where is the recent activity happening. Lo and behold, it wasn't Minnesota. It was in Ohio.
That's where Eric is.
Yes. I've been there. I was just there in May. And so there's the three of us, me, the co-founder, my team, and an ex-team member, loaded up a car, and we went to Coshocton County, Ohio, Wills Creek area. Spent a few days, I think it was about 8 days out there, and we had some things going on. Found a possible footprints, and we stopped at the general store there, told them our business and what we're doing and who we are, and they told us to go check out Sasquatch Valley. Well, we did that, and they pointed us in the direction. Get to Sasquatch Valley, walk about 50 yards from the car, and lo and behold, we hear what sounded like a tree being broken in half or a limb snapped. Totally went behind the ears, very first exhibition, and only 22 at that time. We were scared. We got spooked. Stopped us dead on our tracks. We looked at each other. Now, when we walked away 50 yards from the car, I had to point out that the co-founder of my team, he stayed back at the car and had a higher point of view. So, with that being said, we heard that break, and we started hearing bipedal footprint steps walking towards us, and we're like, oh my gosh. It was like, it's like the M&M commercial when they see Santa Claus. It's like, he is real. So we're hearing this, right? And it's getting louder, and it's getting closer, and we're getting freaked out. We started running back towards the car. I had a Polaroid camera around my neck at that time, and I was thinking to myself, why am I running? This could be it. This could be the shot. I stopped, opened the Polaroid camera, focused on the sounds where they're coming out of the woods. As soon as I did that, co-founder of my team, who I've known since high school, says, "Hey, what are you doing? The thing's right behind you. Keep going." I look back, take my eyes off the woods to look at him, and his face is looking like he's seeing a monster. His loss of color in his face, his eyes are wide, and his mouth is open. I'm still hearing this thing walking towards me, whatever it is, because it's getting louder. The sound of the brush is getting louder. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I see him. I'm hearing this thing. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I can't see it because it's so thick there with vegetation and the foliage. I close the Polaroid camera, catch up with the guy who's already on his way to the car. We get to the car. The co-founder of my team has the car started by the time we get there. We hop in. I swear it was like Dukes of Hazzard. One door, we just went through the windows, and I'm asking him 20 questions basically. What was it? What it looked like? What was it? What was going on? He said it was a Bigfoot, and the gist of it is like it's a Bigfoot. It was a Bigfoot. I was like, what color? How tall? Come on, 7 to 7.5 feet tall, reddish brown, rust coloration, and hair. I was going to say for her, but it's hair. Where to go? I think I got out, and he took his eyes off of it to have the car start up by the time we get there.
Yeah.
So we're looking around. Everything is quiet at this time. We're looking around like, oh my gosh. We get out of there. Before we get out of there, let me back it up. He did say this creature was going from tree to tree, making its way towards us.
No way. Oh.
So he got to see it firsthand, running from tree to tree, basically in a zigzag pattern, I guess it was. Came right up close on us. Now, doing this for as many years as I have, I've made a lot of friends in the Bigfoot community, and it happens the guy who organizes the now nationwide, nationally known Ohio Bigfoot Conference, has done research in this exact same area. Now, talking with him, and from him talking with the locals, the residents that live out there, they told him at that time frame that there's two of them. There's a big black male and a smaller female. That's brownish, reddish, rust coloration and color. That's 7 to 7.5 feet tall.
Yeah, she's a small one.
And that's a small one. Yes, exactly. And looking back in hindsight, gentlemen, I think what was happening, what was going on, is that we were possibly getting too close. Now, this is all speculative. I think we were getting possibly too close to a smaller one, and it was her duty, her job to get us out of there. It worked 110%, and we got the heck out of there. That was very cool. So besides that, our very first expedition here in Minnesota, in 2 different research areas, we've had them come walking up to us again. One time we were doing wood knocks and call blasting and vocalizations. This one was during the day as well. The first time in Ohio was during the day. The second time in Minnesota was during the day. And the third time was at night after we were doing some wood knocking. We returned some wood knocking to what sounded like very distant or soft wood knocking. And again, we are hearing the bipedal, heavy falling footprints walking towards us from the forest to us on a dirt road, to the point where an ex-team member's wife got so spooked, she turned on a spotlight, a 3 billion candle power spotlight, and whatever it was stopped dead in its tracks. Now, this was before I had the thermal imager.
Yeah.
If I were to have that thermal imager, we would have got a hit on that thermal imager. The area we were at that time, it was thick, but it was not as thick as in 2001 in Ohio, and we would have gotten something on the FLIR thermal imager.
Mark and Abe, I have spent the night alone in the Villisca Axe Murder House. I've been to Bobby Mackey's Music World, the infamous place that Zach Baggins was attacked. In that tent the other night, I was more terrified in that tent. I'm not just saying that. I was actually more terrified in that tent than I was in any of those places. Simply because I'm a bear hunter. All right? I've hunted a lot of bear, and I've been in the woods a lot. And when you go into the woods, you're in their world. And if they don't want you there, they're going to get you out. And so what's going through my head is, all right, everything's cool. It was just a leaf that made the camera go off. There's no Bigfoot out there. That whole night, man, it was a nervous time. I will be completely honest. I was a little
Well, I know.
jittery.
I heard your teeth and I heard your knees.
Yeah,
So
that's right. You heard them knocking.
But
But and that's the thing. It's that rush, though. It's the rush of the unknown. Now it's got me going, okay, all right, there's something more to this.
One of the nice things is there's a friend of mine who owns a business in town, and I won't say which one it is or everyone will know who it is, but he's a hunter and a fisherman, and before last year's festival. And as I say, at our Bigfoot days, there are all kinds of stories being told. There's all kinds of learning and informational stuff going on. And last year before the festival, he didn't think anything of Bigfoot. And then we had the festival, and he was there, and he listened to the stories, and he learned how to call and knock and all that stuff. And he took part and wanted to learn more. And about 2 or 3 months after the event, I was talking with him one morning having coffee, and he said, I was out in the woods the other day in the afternoon, and he said, I heard this thing and while I was walking, and he said, I stopped, and he said, you know what? I know it was a tree knock. He said, I sat there for a while, and I heard it a couple times, and he said, I would have never known it before, but he said, I probably won't tell anybody, but I know it was a tree knock. And it's stories like that people are learning, and they're realizing that some of the things that they've heard all their life or for the last 5 years is really something. And they're learning what Bigfoot is all about and what he does, and where he goes, and the things that they've thought were nothing all these years are really something.
Hey, Marc, you're totally right, my friend. I mean, I come across that all the time. I mean, and it shows like Finding Bigfoot that you and I were both on. We had a great time. Monster Quest, the documentaries, shows like that help bring an awareness to the public that are outside of the Bigfoot community, where people experience these things and they just kind of pass it off until they watch a show. They talk with a researcher, and then they start putting pieces of the puzzle together. And they're like, oh, that's a Bigfoot characteristic? And they're like, I guess I kind of passed it off as something else. So, it happens all the time. You're totally right, bro.
Yeah, a lot of learning. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I never associated with Bigfoot until even I started talking, until I started doing more research into it and realizing, well, hell, that TP thing that looks like someone built it, that wasn't just kids messing around in the forest. It could have been a Bigfoot. Things like that you come across in the forest that you don't give two thoughts to because you just think, someone built that. But then you look back, you go, well, wait a minute, I'm 4 miles from the nearest road, main way to get out here. Why would kids be out here building a fort? You know what I mean? So that you kind of rationalize, wait a minute. So it kind of taught me to be a little more keen in the forest as well. And Abe, Eric, as you know, that we have sponsored and helped and launched and done this and done that. We're a lot of events out there, Eric, right? We've helped a lot of people. We've done a lot of good stuff. We've included
spread the word.
We have included a lot of listeners in a few events, after hours, AM invite only events. But later on down the road, Abe and I, we're kind of talking a little bit. We're formulating something that maybe you guys can be a part of, that maybe you guys can get off the chair. Maybe you guys can experience something. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. But Abe and I, right, Abe? We've been doing some talking. And maybe, just maybe, if you're, just maybe, you will have a chance someday, I'm not saying when or how, you may have a chance to be scared in a tent too. And it won't be from us. No.
No, we are down to the last 7 minutes of this hour. I would love to hear, since Abe is a veteran squatcher and has had experiences and obviously thinks a lot about it, I'd love to hear just kind of your general Bigfoot theories. What is Bigfoot? How many of them are there? What are some of their characteristics? I'd love to hear your thoughts, just any detail at all on the Bigfoot experience.
Would love to. As far as what it is, there's a lot of thought speculation as to exactly what it is. But from what we have come to find out, and from what we know, it is definitely a primate. And I say that because only primates have the dermal ridges of the fingerprints and on the soles of your feet. The things that have been touched by a Bigfoot, and people have, dusted with latent fingerprint dusting kits and pulled them, and they sent them in, comes back to unknown primate. Whatever it is a primate. It's a great ape. Is it a descendant of Gigantopithecus, Cro-Magnon man, Meganthropus, Homo erectus? You know, who knows what or where on the tree of life it definitely fits in. But nonetheless, I believe in creation. So whatever it is, it's my thought, my opinion, that it was put here, created here by God Almighty himself.
Yeah.
With that being said, it's of this world, in my opinion. But, you know, being a researcher, we have to keep an open mind. I also pay attention to people who say that their UFO theories is related or linked with this. That's the researcher side of me.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing the researcher side and being open-minded, I'm closing off all possibilities, which you cannot do in conducting proper research.
Yeah.
Some of the characteristics that it does, some of the mannerisms, we're talking about, you know, try to get you out of the area and intimidate you. Well, heck, it will bluff charge you. It will chase you. It might blast you with infrasound, throw rocks, throw sticks, give you a big roar. These are all characteristics that are shared with known great apes for intimidation or to mark as a territorial displays as well. Shaking a tree even to show its strength is a characteristic that has been seen by one of my team members. That's a long story in itself right there. So, in my thoughts, in my opinions, and from doing this for as long as I have, I would definitely have to say it is a primate. And it's just as curious sometimes about us as we are about it.
But, Abe, if you had to guesstimate, how many would you say, and we're not going to hold you to this number, but in your own personal opinion, how many would you say are out there?
Well, you know, to the land of 10,000 lakes, and I've spoken with the producer of Monster Quest. He's actually a good friend of mine. And from him doing his TV show and his reports, and, you know, with other people here in the state of Minnesota, at least here in the state of Minnesota. Now, this number can fluctuate, mind you, because we're looking for a moving needle in a haystack. But at least we came up to, and to safely say that there is probably roughly about 1,000 different Bigfoots, Sasquatches, specimens here in the state of Minnesota.
Wow, that's a good chunk.
And in Remer, I can tell you that there's probably about 5 different ones that have been seen by different people.
Exactly. Yeah, I believe you. And again, Remer, Minnesota, 7th and 8th of July. Check it out, Bigfoot Days. Have a lot of fun. Go meet Abe. Go meet Marc. Get your fill on this. You'll learn a few things. And, of course, Grand Rapids, Minnesota would be your nearest airport. If you're flying in, just let everyone know. Let's look at the map right now. That'd be your nearest, largest, if I'm not mistaken, Marc, airport. Am I correct?
That's correct.
So if you are looking for it, rent a car, make that short drive over to Remer. It has been an honor and a privilege talking to both you guys. And
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
you. You'll be glad you came to Remer for the Bigfoot Days if you do come. And if you can't come that weekend, just come visit us some other time. And
it's worth the trip.
Like everyone has said, you'll be glad you did.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the trip. And again, I want to give a big shout out to all the people that made me feel welcome and warm. And I did buy Abe lunch, and he did take advantage of my wallet. I'm not going to go there or not, Mr. Steak and lobster or shrimp. But, I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there.
Come on. Oh, hey. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Exactly.
No, thank you again, Joel and Eric. Marc, my friend, we will talk soon.
Yes, we will see each other again
Thank
soon.
you guys. Really interesting stuff. And yeah, boy, I'll tell you, that event, it really does sound like fun. I'm not always feeling all that outdoorsy, but I'll tell you, that sounds like a lot of fun. And you can go in so many different directions with it, and you could be very serious and get involved with lectures and whatnot, or you can just have fun. So that's a pretty great combination. And Abe, really interested in how serious you are and how knowledgeable you are, and sounds like you're a lot of fun to go squatching
He really
with.
is. He really is. And one more quick piece of information about Mr. Abe Del Rio. He is now part of the After Hours AM iHeartRadio family. Yeah, he has his very own show. Check it out, Minnesota Bigfoot Research. Check that out. Go play it right now. He gets the biggest, best names in the Bigfoot squatching community to come on and talk about their experiences and share their knowledge with all of us that are would-be squatchers. We got to run to Fox News. Again, Marc and Abe, thank you so much for coming on. And we'll be talking again soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right, take care, gentlemen. Absolutely. Take care, gentlemen. When we come back, we have a great show on tap. We're not done yet. When we come back, we have Diane Brandon on, and she is going to be talking about, well, she wrote a new book, Born Aware, Stories and Insights from Those Spiritually Aware Since Birth. Yeah. How far back does our memory truly go? And how aware are we? Find out after the break. Don't go anywhere.
They're just now getting a look at the health care plan at the Senate. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News. Republicans rolling out details of how they'd replace Obamacare. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, GOP senators are meeting behind closed doors to get a first look at the health care plan that was drafted behind closed doors. This first look is being called a draft discussion and does not include text of the actual bill. That will come later. Lawmakers don't have much time as they're looking to take a vote on the final plan by the end of the week. Democrats and some Republicans have complained about the secretiveness of the process. The Congressional Budget Office is expected to score the plan's impact before lawmakers vote. Dave.
Rachel, Democrats have said Republicans must be ashamed of the bill. President Trump says it'll be a plan with heart, and he knows Democrats will oppose it.
If we went and got the single greatest health care plan in the history of the world, we would not get one Democrat vote.
He rallied supporters in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, talking up his agenda, saying he might put solar panels on his border wall. And then he said this.
Those seeking admission into our country must be able to support themselves financially.
And those new immigrants would not be eligible for welfare for 5 years in his plan. The president fired off more tweets on the Russia probe today, writing in one, if the hacking happened in 2016, why didn't the Obama administration stop it? There's a funeral now in Ohio for Otto Warmbier, the American who died Monday after North Korea sent him back in a coma-like state more than a year after taking him prisoner.
Here at Wyoming High School, they reached the 2,500 person capacity inside of the school itself. We saw people as early as 7 o'clock today coming in here to the school in order to pay their respects.
Jordan Villanez with Fox 19 TV. Tropical storm Cindy has flooded coastal roads, dumping rain Texas to Florida.
It was pretty rough. We had quite a bit of lightning and thunder close by.
He's on Dauphin Island. Also in Alabama, a 10-year-old boy was killed on a beach, hit by a log carried inside a big wave. Fox News, Farron Ballot. Well, there is not very much direction in the early trading on Wall Street this morning. Fox Business Network's Nicole Pedalides live at the New York Stock Exchange.
Right now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 1 point to 21,407. The Nasdaq dropping 11. The S&P 500 down 2 points. So, as you noted, modest moves. We are seeing weakness in financials and tech, while energy and healthcare are gaining. But there are some big movers. Oracle's up 9%, hit an all-time high after some strong earnings there. American Airlines has been gaining about 5% at one point, now up about 2% after the company revealed that Qatar Airways is interested in buying about a 10% stake. And Staples up about 6%. Back to you.
Thank you, Nicole. The price of oil is up about a quarter after dropping to a new low for the year, but it is still below $43 a barrel. The price of gas is down just a bit today. AAA's national average for regular is at $2.28 a gallon. That is 4 cents lower than we were paying a year ago, as more Americans than ever plan to travel for the 4th of July.
Prepare to share the roads, rails, and TSA checkpoints with a lot of people during the upcoming 4th of July weekend. AAA says it expects more than 44 million people will travel at least 50 miles or more from home during the weekend starting Friday, June 30th and ending the night of July 4th. The majority will travel by car, but airline travel is expected to be up for the 8th straight year. The Auto Club says cheaper gas prices, lower airfares, and less expensive car rentals are contributing to the large travel numbers. Rich Dennison, Fox News.
One of the Capitol Hill police officers hailed a hero for stopping the gunman who was shooting at a congressional baseball practice last week. Threw out the first pitch at the congressional women's softball game last night. Crystal Griner was in a wheelchair. She was shot in the ankle during the gunfire. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
Welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Eric Olsen.
And we are hitting hour 2. Hour 1 was Bigfoot. Now, hour 2, we're shifting gears to something equally as cool, man. And
it's a rather radical shift in gear.
It really is. I mean, we're going right from 1st to 5th here, man. We're not even messing around with other gears. We're going right to that 5th gear, and really, we have the opportunity to talk to someone very, very cool, and I'm going to let you introduce her to our audience.
All right. Well, as you mentioned, her book, Born Aware, Stories and Insights from Those Spiritually Aware Since Birth, comes out in just a couple weeks, early July. Some people have a conscious spiritual awareness at birth that is mature and clear. Born Aware delves into the effects of having been born conscious of our higher soul connection, what we can learn from it, and the implications for the human consciousness and spirituality. Having innate spiritual awareness has affected Diane Brandon's life in remarkable ways, and this book chronicles her experiences as well as her efforts to learn from others who have been spiritually aware since birth. Using personal accounts and her own insights, Diane shows you how to access your spiritual awareness even if you weren't born aware. Diane Brandon, born and raised in New Orleans. Diane Brandon is an author, integrative, intuitive counselor, teacher, business consultant, speaker, radio host, actress, and holy cats singer. She has been facilitating, teaching, and assisting others in their personal and business lives since 1992 in both private consultations and group classes, workshops, and seminars, helping others to transform their lives in a positive way and to find more fulfillment in life to consistently positive feedback from her clients. Diane is the author of Dream Interpretation for Beginners, Intuition for Beginners, Invisible Blueprints, and the forthcoming and aforementioned Born Aware, Stories and Insights from Those Spiritually Aware Since Birth, coming July 8th. Welcome to the program, Diane Brandon.
Thank you so much. Very nice to speak with you, Eric and Joel.
Hey, great.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome having you on the show. And, I couldn't tell you're a radio personality at all when you came on. No, great voice, by the way. Great. Tell you've been doing it a little bit, just for a little while.
Well, that was kind of the former hat. And actually, I stopped doing my show in 2013 because I was writing books and was just like, hey, I can't do all this and work with clients. It's like something's got to go.
Too many balls in there, right?
Yes,
Too much going on. Now, your newest book that is going to be dropping here in a couple weeks that people can pick up and read. Very, very cool. Born Aware, Stories and Insights from Those Spiritually Aware Since Birth. Now, when I first got the book, we get a lot of books, and I was like, oh, okay, let's take a look at it. Since birth? I don't remember what I had for breakfast. How am I going to remember that? But really kind of when I started getting the nuts and bolts of it, really kind of grabbed me and made me think for a second. Now, what made you want to write this book? I mean, it's a great book. Not like, oh, my God. It's a great read, and I do tell everyone, seriously, get out there and buy a copy. But what made you want to write this, put pen to paper on this subject?
Thank you. Well, to be honest with you, I kind of got a message to do it. The way it happened is that in 2014, one person just spontaneously shared her at birth and pre-birth memories with me, and I thought, oh, that makes two of us. And then within 3 more months, another person spontaneously shared her memories, and I thought, okay, I'm being given a message. So I never really thought about this as subject matter because you never know. I mean, this is my norm. I never knew if other people had these memories. And so I started looking for other people to interview, and it just kind of unfolded. So that's kind of how it got born.
What kind of memories did you have? I mean, is it kind of like birth memories or afterlife, before life memories? What kind of memories are you experiencing?
It was a little bit of both, to be honest with you. I did not come in until after the birth, so I don't remember the birth. I remember when I was born thinking, I don't want to be here again. I remembered, and it wasn't absolutely clear, somewhat hazy, but I remembered being on the other side. I remembered being with God, spirit, creator, whatever term one wants to use. I knew that when I was here, I wasn't with creator, and that wasn't nice. I also knew that when I wasn't here, I had absolute knowledge. I had access to knowing anything I wanted to know, and I knew that while I was here, I didn't have it, and that aggravated me. But I knew that I had to be here because there was something I was supposed to do. I thought it had to do with performing, so I pursued that for years. So that's what I thought when I was born. I have never forgotten what I thought then.
So, just to play a little bit devil's advocate here. Really, Diane? You thought that deep as a baby? Most of us are looking for a bottle and maybe to poop ourselves. We're not thinking about life paths at that point. We're just thinking about, wow, this place is really cold.
Well, those of us with these memories, because we are still in what I call the higher soul awareness. Mm-hmm. That human side hasn't even developed yet. So we're in the awareness that we have as a soul when we're not here. So we haven't even gotten into that human garbage, at that point. So yeah, we think in those terms, and it's interesting in interviewing other people. It's interesting to see what different people remembered, and some people, have pre-birth memories as well as at-birth memories, and it's fascinating. I just love it, and so we're kind of I guess we're a little weird. We didn't know we were weird. We didn't know everybody wasn't this way.
I knew I've been weird for years. So nothing new on me. But I do radio. So that makes
absolutely
us a little weird.
Yes.
But you talk about being born and not remembering the birth. Is there a time period between when you're born and when the soul actually enters into the body?
I love that question. It's a wonderful question. And actually, what I have found is that will vary from one person to another. So, for example, even in the womb, during the pregnancy, mm-hmm. some people will come in and kind of stay in the womb and maybe stay in there for a while.
Oh,
some
yeah,
people
that would have been me.
Out.
I'm not
I
leaving.
love to hear it's so comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like getting cold. Come on.
And some people, I didn't. I was more like, okay, I was told to come here, so okay, I have to be here, but that doesn't mean I want to hang out anytime in advance. But again, it depends. Some people remember dipping in and out. Some people remember not spending any time. One person in the book remembers like she was just on the other side doing her work until she was told, hey, get in there. The birth is happening. So it's interesting because the soul doesn't come into the body to stay at the same time for everybody. It's very, I don't know if I would say it's individualistic, but it varies from one person to the next. So I just think it's really fascinating. And there's one guy in the book who remembers his birth, which was painful because they had to use forceps. And he's like, oh my God, I'm going to be damaged for life. So, he went through the actual birth process, the labor, the delivery, which for him was painful. I skipped all that. I came in.
Well, hey, if you can do it, because it doesn't sound like he had a great time there.
Absolutely not.
You know, the cold metal forceps of reaching him and plucking him from his mother's womb. I mean,
and squeezing the what out of it.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
salad tossers resulting in Heckle and Jekyll heads. My oldest daughter was a poor salad tosser, Heckle and Jekyll head for a while. Poor thing.
Oh,
but
poor thing.
It did round out, you know.
That's good.
She looks okay now at 33.
Now, Eric, they use vacuums, you know. No longer. They use vacuums now.
Oh, you know, they have done some barbaric things to babies.
Tossers?
Some really barbaric things. And that's one thing, one point. I think there are a lot of takeaways from my book, but one especially is, hey, babies are aware. They also feel pain. So don't do surgery on them without anesthetic. And that was done for years.
Yeah.
Don't talk, you know, don't say, oh, that baby looks ugly. Don't say that in front of the baby.
Because they're aware. They're more aware than we are.
Now, they don't speak a language yet. So how are they picking up that information? Is it intuitive?
It's intuitive. It's like on the other side. We don't use words. It's you know, it comes closest to what we call here telepathy. It's mind-to-mind communication. So you just know what's being said. You don't have to know that language. You know what's being said, and you know the words that are being said. You know what the thoughts are, and of course you can also tell the tone of voice and whether it's a nice, warm, gentle, loving tone of voice, or whether it's, you know, that baby is so damn ugly.
Well, you know, I have actually, and you know, I have seen some ugly babies, though, to be honest. You know. Ma, see a baby in my picture of my baby. Oh, my God, that thing looks like Sloth from the Goonies. Put that away. But
with a beautiful soul.
True. Very, very true. See, I'm not a baby guy. I mean, although I do have children, and I love them all dearly, and my youngest now is 1.5, going to be 1.5. And I remember vividly him being born, and he was, they ended up C-sectioning him, emergency C-section. But in the beginning, they were trying to use a vacuum. It looked like a Hoover vacuum to get him out. And
oh, God.
And I was waiting for the pop, the noise that they're saying could happen. Didn't happen, right? So now I can totally sympathize with the guy the guy that you interviewed. The trauma of birth can be real. I mean, I would not want to be sucked out of my mother's womb with a vacuum. That'd stink.
No, and some of the people in the book talked about, you know, oh my God, these bright lights. You know, as soon as they were born, get these blinding lights out of my face, and oh, it's so cold. Yeah, so there are a lot of things that are done, you know, in the delivery room that are not exactly baby friendly.
Life is hard, Diane. Come on.
And you know why that is? Babies don't vote.
That's right. It's a hard knocks life for us. It's a hard knocks life.
Maybe we need them too.
we need the baby vote.
Yeah, the baby ticket.
I'm going after the babe vote. No harsh lights in the delivery room. No vacuums. No salad tossers.
Salad tossers.
No salad tossers. No circumcision without help.
Without help?
Without anesthesia.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, what, you're circumcising yourself, Eric? I mean, you know.
Snip that thing. Ah! No wonder they scream and cry.
Well, yeah, I would too. And now they do use anesthetic, though.
Good.
On children, because that is one thing that when my son was born recently, they do use. In fact, we had to sign paperwork to that effect. That when he did get circumcised, that was one of the things that'd be used as a local anesthetic, and he had to sign off on it and stuff. So it wasn't near as traumatic as other stories I've heard about, you know, really, like you said, they used to just cut into him. They did not give him any anesthetic.
No wonder we have so many problems in this world.
Well, yeah, because the popular theory was they didn't feel pain yet.
Yep, exactly.
And that's absurd.
That is absurd.
They don't.
It's barbaric.
Give me a break, Diane. What's your guess on what percentage of the population has these kinds of birth or pre-birth memories?
You know, I have not delved far enough into this yet, because I'm going to be doing a follow-up book. I've already found like 8 more people with these memories. My sense is that this is extremely rare. I feel that maybe some people are aware at birth, but amnesia sets in. Then we also have a lot of people who are spiritual, who are what I call innately spiritually oriented, who don't have these memories. It's almost as if they have like a veil over their awareness, but they know there's something. So I feel like those of us who have always had these memories, have never forgotten, are probably pretty damn rare. I have read that there may be some people who remember birth, but they don't have the spiritual awareness, which I find really interesting. So I don't know if that is like some weird part of the brain, just like, and I forget the name of it, people who have the condition, Mary Lou Henner is like this, who remember everything. So I don't know if it's down to that, but of the people I have identified, and thus far it's probably like maybe 20 some people, and I contacted tons of people, healers and intuitives and, people in the metaphysical community who were practitioners, thinking, well, surely you have these memories, and no. So I think it's pretty rare. I do feel that we are peppered throughout the world. But it's interesting because when I found people who had these memories, as it turns out, 5 of the people I've known for years have these memories, but there are people in the book who've never known anybody else with these memories.
Well,
so
how did you find them? You put an ad out in Craigslist or something? Hey, seeking people that remember everything. How do you go about that?
Well, because the work I do, the intuitive work is spiritual. I just contacted people I knew, and then they, kind of put the word out. And I remember talking to a couple of people who told me, oh, yes, they had these memories, but their memories were through regression or rebirthing. They didn't naturally have these memories. So I just put the word out and was surprised to see that 5 people, even a guy I dated years ago in grad school, who's unfortunately no longer on the planet, but he had the memories too. So I just kind of searched. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack. And the other thing too is nobody talks about this. Yeah. This is not a topic that's widely discussed. So I can't say, oh yeah, I know you have the memories and you have the memories and you have the memories, because we didn't talk about
There's
it.
no Facebook group out there with people only with these memories. So you can, go to the group and join. And, oh, you got them too. All right, here we are. Now, you talked about souls entering the body, and at some point they say, hey, you got to get in there. Do we have a choice to come back? I mean, or on the other side, do we choose to be reborn, or can we opt out of that?
A lot of people say that it's up to us, that we choose to come back. I don't feel that's true of everybody. Because I was told, and actually I feel, and some of the people in the book feel, that we're here on assignment. So, and somebody said to me, well, you could have said no. And I'm like, well, no, if the divine asks you to go in and do something, you don't say, no, I'm just going to hang out here and read a book. No.
I'm enjoying my cloud. Leave me alone.
I'm on cloud 9, I'm just kind of drifting around. No. So
I'm chilling.
I'm chilling here. Leave me alone. I'm cool.
I don't want to do any work, but to me, and based on a lot of what I have, things I remember, things I've read, material sessions with clients, we humans, from our narrow perspective, and we humans are very, very limited in our awareness, want to look for the rules. How do things work? What are the rules? Yeah. And with some things, there aren't hard and fast rules. So some people may have the choice. One woman in the book remembers, choosing her parents. And I think others of us, have it decided for us. I spoke to one woman who was told, but that she could come in. She was so excited that she was almost, chosen or selected to come in. So, it's highly variable. For myself, it was like, oh, geez. Now, this friend who remembers choosing your parents also remembers looking at the planet and seeing that her coming in this time had to do with the health of the planet and whether the planet would be healthy, because she could see that industry and chemicals were really kind of destroying the planet, and she could see all these other souls coming in for the same purpose at the same time. So for her, she remembers choosing her parents, but she also knows that was her purpose in coming in this lifetime, which she didn't choose the purpose. It's like, okay, this is what I'm going to be. This is what I'm doing.
What they really need to have, and it reminds me of the movie Beetlejuice, is a guide, an afterlife guide. This is what you can expect while you're here. Because it sounds like, that you're not...
but remember, it reads like stereo.
It does. Oh, page 12, rebirth. Oh, that does not look good at all. Not digging that at all. So it doesn't really sound like...
It's unfair. It's unfair because, we do get a lot of amnesia when we come here, and we would really like to remember more of the other side, because to me that makes being here a little easier, because it's not easy to be here, especially it's not easy for anybody with all the problems we have on this planet, but especially, for those of us with these memories, it ain't easy.
Well, it has to be on some levels terrifying.
Well, it not terrifying as much as it's like being in exile, because you remember where you come from, and it's so much better and preferable for me. And I used to joke about this. I don't joke anymore because I know it really makes sense. I used to joke and say, well, I love to sleep because when I'm sleeping, I'm not here. But, the more I've delved into dreams and sleep, when we're sleeping, we get to go into so many places. We get to go back and visit.
So what you're saying is when we go to sleep, if I'm understanding you correctly, we leave our body.
We do all sorts of things. We can leave our body. We can go travel. I don't mean just to Paris or to another planet, but we can go to other time periods. We can revisit other lives if we want to. We can be on the other side, and the deepest levels of sleep we're actually worked with. We are kind of prepared for things that are coming up. Whether that's in our personal life or whether that's on kind of the world level, we are refreshed spiritually. We are taught in those deepest levels of sleep. So that's really like,
it sounds like
I wish I could bring back conscious memory.
Well, sure. It sounds like you're describing something even beyond astral projection. You're describing something you can go forward, backwards, ups, down. There really are no limits.
Yes, but the problem is we don't bring back a conscious memory. Now, I know one person who does. She's in the book. But most of us don't. And I think partly that's because of what we consciously would be prepared for while we're here. So that may be why we can't bring back the conscious memory. I know for me, it would make me, homesick as hell, to bring back a conscious. So it's wonderful to dip into it every night.
Well, because we're coming up to the end of the first part. We're gonna go to break, and after the break, I got some good questions for you. I need answers for. Now we've kind of dived into this. There's a lot of questions rolling around my mind after reading the book that I just got to ask. And when we come back, Eric and I both have these questions. We come back, we're going to ask them. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
Something to do with your time, something to do with your peace of mind, something to do alone, nothing to do, so won't you pick up the phone? You turn me on, you tune me in, keep it up till dawn, here we go again. You turn it up straight to your head.
Hey, you're listening to After Hours AM, and if you're listening to us via podcast, make sure you like us, follow us, review us, tell your friends about us, tell grandma about us, and keep listening.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If pop culture is to be believed, roughly 40% of all people are actually vampires, or dating one. Well, undead or not, you can always save on a clean, comfortable room at Motel 6, even if you sleep during the day because direct sunlight turns you into a pile of sparkly coffee grounds. Speaking of which, we have free coffee every morning. You day sleepers may want to go for the decaf. I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you. Book online at motel6.com.
Anavar Media LCC is a dedicated team of professionals committed to helping business development scale and protect their websites, mobile applications, enterprise software solutions in the Northeast Ohio area. Locally owned since 2012, our client-centered values truly sets Anavar apart. Contact us today to learn how you can get 25% off your first project. Call them at 234-380-4852. Again, that's 234-380-4852, or visit them at www.anavar.com. Again, that's www.anavar.com.
This is Jen McGowan, founder of Wayward Souls Promotions, a company dedicated to helping individuals, teams, radio shows, and others that are seeking exposure for their individual events, conventions, and shows. We offer a wide variety of advertising, such as web-based article, social media posts, podcast advertisement, and so on. Contact us at paranormalpromotion@gmail.com, visit us on Facebook at Wayward Souls Promotions, and visit our website at www.waywardsoulspromotions.com.
You're listening to After Hours AM. Do you have a question for the guests or even the host? That's really easy. Go ahead and email those questions to afterhoursam@gmail.com. Are you feeling like picking up the phone and being part of the show? Call us at 612-326-6874, 612-326-6874. Come be part of the madness. Welcome back to After Hours AM, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me,
Eric Olsen.
And we are talking with Diane Brandon tonight, and she has written just the coolest book out there. Born Aware, Stories and Insights from Those Spiritually Aware Since Birth. Now, Diane, I got to ask you, is there a difference between a new soul and an old soul?
Oh, that concept has been around for so many years, Eric, and I feel two different things about that. I feel that yes, some souls are newer because maybe they haven't lived as many lives, although on the highest level time doesn't exist, so all our lives are coexisting. Then the other part of me goes, well, that's kind of arrogant. I'm not a new soul, I'm an old soul.
Yeah.
So I feel very conflicted about that, because to me, the whole purpose of living different lives, and that means not just on this planet as humans, and not just on this planet in any life form, it can be on any planet. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To me, the whole purpose of that is to experience the whole fullness of being embodied, and that means being good sometimes, being bad sometimes, being dumb sometimes, and
the reason why I bring that up, because I've heard that term thrown around a lot. Well, he's an old soul, or that person's a new soul, and I've often wondered now how our souls, and this is gonna get deep here, made? Are they created? Are they born? How are our souls come into being?
Well, my sense, and I can't say that I remember this, but my sense is, and when I say divine, God creator, I actually remember being with God. So, and not this old man with a long
I was just
white
about to
beard.
ask, has he got a big beard? I mean,
Absolutely not. We're talking about a presence, this huge, magnificent, awesome, powerful presence, but not intimidating. Well, intimidating, but not scary.
Mm-hmm.
And so my sense is the divine creates souls. And I know there are different concepts out there about why. And I don't even know the answer to that. I don't feel that it's because God is lonely. No, that's kind of a human, human trait. But, I feel that souls are spun off or created. And then when we experience the fullness, I feel like we may get to go back and merge, which is wonderful. But other than that, I'm clueless because I don't remember when my soul was created. But at least it was on the other side. It wasn't here.
Is there a purpose? I mean, is this teleological, to use a philosophical term?
Thank you. Yes. Wonderful.
Headed in a direction. You're welcome. Or is this more of a static stasis kind of thing? Or are we headed in a direction?
Well, first of all, I don't feel that there's anything static in this universe, cosmos. I feel like it's, it's very dynamic. Where it's headed from the point of view on the other side of the divine, I don't know, because I feel like that surpasses my human ability to understand. Where things are headed on this planet, I feel, with humanity is we are moving forward. Now, I don't mean that that's necessarily in a straight line. It's linear and it just kind of keeps going. I mean, there can be cycles, but it feels to me that one purpose for souls to come here and be in a human body and experience being human, I feel is for our unfolding and growth, as well as the roles we play with other people, not only for their unfolding, but as part of what I call the greater drama. It's like we are playing roles while we're here. It's like we put on a costume, we put on a character, and I feel that is what I call the essence. It is the energetic imprint for who we are to be in that lifetime, for the role we are to play. And the whole purpose of the drama, the greater drama, is to move humanity forward, even though it seems at times that we may be going backwards. But I feel like the overall thrust of it is moving forward. Now, that's just humans on this planet. I haven't even delved into, other places in the universe. I haven't even chewed on what the purpose of that is. And yes, there are life forms on other planets. There are some of the people in the book remember living, other than on this planet, other than in this solar system. And so I haven't even delved into that yet. But what we experience here is just, to even call it a drop is probably too big.
Well, is it torture? I mean, we hear, is it supposed to be hard and arduous and teach us something? Is this like, like our crucible that we have to bear this cross and make it through this world?
Well, unfortunately, for soul growth, the main way we get it is through the difficult things we go through. If we're willing, if we're open to learning and growing. Some people may not be. Some people may not learn and unfold through the difficult things that they go through. It's not to punish us, but unfortunately, that's how we learn, at least on this planet. So it's not to punish us, but we do have, we have things that we enjoy as well. And I know that, even though I remember being on the other side and remember what I thought when I was born. I'm from New Orleans. I love food.
Oh, yeah. Good old New Orleans
So we
food.
do have pleasures while we're here. It's not all bad.
No, but you know, the coming into this world is very hard.
Yes.
The birth, it seems, that has been a theme over and over as we're talking, that the birth is always the hardest part. Now, is death hard, or is that the easy part? Is there an easy exit?
I think it depends upon what the death is like. I feel that some people get to slip away. I've always joked and said I wanted to go in my sleep because it would be easier.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, may be in pain as they are dying. So it depends, just like different births are different,
Sure.
and when the soul comes in. At the death, though, one wonderful thing is that even before the death, for my father who passed away in 2010, it was like 2 weeks before, he kept saying the name of an aunt who had passed away, an older sister of his.
Yeah.
So before we pass away, we are being visited by loved ones, who are already on the other side, and that I feel helps to ease the transition. They're being supportive. They are, I think, for some people who don't even know if there's anything beyond death, are being supported and kind of encouraged. You're not alone in this, and if I'm communicating with you, something else exists.
Well, Diane, not to cut you off, but we've had lots of people on the show telling us that we are aware of our own demise before we were even born. It's almost like a contract is signed saying this is what you must endure while you are here. Do you agree that there's some type of preset destiny, a lesson to be learned, not only through the living, but the death?
Yes, I do. First of all, we do tend to know before we come in what the plan is for our lives. And I've actually gone to that level. We are energetically encoded with the plan for our lives before we come in.
Now, are you talking the Akashic records? Is that where that would be located? If you wanted to go to the Akashic records, pull your volume out and go, "Whoa, I remember dying that way," and look back.
I don't believe in the Akashic records because to me, energy is information and information is energy. So it is omnipresent. It's everywhere. So it's not in one specific place in a specific volume. It is everywhere. We are permeated by information. It's just we don't have access. Theoretically, you think we could. So to me, what I remember is it's an energetic encoding, whether it's from the divine, whether it's from, little guides or whatever. And I feel that before we come in, we are aware of at least high points, if not the totality. One guy in the book remembers when he was born, he was aware of the template for his life, and that's the term he used was template. So yes, there is a plan. I look at things from the standpoint of levels. And so if we take the human level, we're very limited in our perspective. If we zoom out from inside ourselves, and then we can get into other people, and that's, empathy and compassion, then if we zoom out more, we can, if we get on the spiritual level, we can see things from that level. We can look down, so to speak. I'll use that term, and look at the earth. We can even learn to look at ourselves. That's an exercise that I've used when I teach intuition. And so the perspective can be very, very different. And it feels to me that on the other side, there are all these levels of perspective that get more and more expansive. So, and again, on the highest levels, time doesn't exist. So it was already known what we were going to do and what we're going to choose.
Yeah, but Diane, okay, you come in and you have all this knowledge. Do people struggle with it? I mean, is there a struggle in life knowing that there's more, or wanting to go back but being stuck here?
Well, there's always going to be a struggle, because what actually happens is, even though at birth, those of us with these memories are in what I call our higher soul awareness. And we have this awareness. Well, we're not omniscient. We don't have the absolute knowledge. But at some point after we're born, something triggers us to get into our human side. And it's usually some sort of pain, psychological pain, physical pain. I actually tried to avoid that because for the first 2 or 3 years of my life, I thought, okay, I felt that I had already lived my life, and I was sitting in a room watching it being projected on a screen. And as I was writing the book, I realized, oh, that was my way of trying to pretend that I wasn't here until I was bullied. Mm-hmm. And that got me into the human persona. So the human persona, as you know, we have our little psyche with our emotions, and we have all our old stuff, the fears, the mindsets, those limiting things. We have our wants, we have our needs. That's all the human stuff. And then we have, those of us with these memories have the higher soul awareness. So we don't hang out there the whole time. We just go back and forth between the human side of us and where we'd really like to hang out, in the higher soul awareness. But no, we can't escape that. Now, maybe some people can, I may be speaking prematurely because, again, I mean, I have only delved into how many people? 16 people, so I don't know the totality yet.
Yeah.
Who knows if I'll get to know it while I'm
here.
Well,
the reason why I ask is because with all that knowledge, and then you realize that paradise is right across the veil, what would stop somebody with that knowledge from, and I'm just going to go say it, take their own life and go back?
Well, actually, there are a couple of people in the book who were contemplating suicide when they were really, really little. And I was not one of them. I think I was just so stupidly dutiful. I didn't. I didn't. But yes, they did. And I think too, I feel that things shift for us throughout our lives, because one thing I've seen as I interview people, we are the freshest with our spiritual awareness at birth, shortly after birth, and then, we get into the human side, and then we get affected by our culture. And the one example I used in my account was, I've always remembered this. I didn't know it was a past life, memory. I thought it was this lifetime, and then I remembered in my last lifetime I was a chanteuse in Paris. But when I went with a date, to see Romeo and Juliet, Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet. Beautiful, just beautiful film. And I'm sitting there in the theater with my date, and I'm watching this, and she is getting ready to commit suicide, and she's struggling with it. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I find myself thinking, oh, you don't struggle, you just give in, it's easy. And I caught myself short. I thought, okay, that means I really did die before. So I remembered from the time I was born that I had been here before, but I was affected by the culture. Mm-hmm. And then that thought came to mind as I was watching the film. I've also seen that for some of us in the teenage years, some of the people in the book kind of turn away from the spiritual awareness because of wanting to fit in. And I think as adults, we are trying to find our way in the world. And I think we start to really get back to it, after our 20s or 30s.
Yeah.
So it's a mixed bag, because we are affected by our human side. We are affected by our culture, even though our inner knowing from our memories at birth may contradict some of this stuff.
Deep, man. Wow, Eric.
Weird.
Fascinating. Fascinating stuff. I'm going to ponder all this. I'm thinking about the similarities and differences. We just recently had someone else who deals with past life regression. We got into some of the same topics. What I didn't want to miss, though, because of what you do. It sounds like most of the time is that you're an intuitive counselor. I'd love to hear about that a bit, and what do you do, and what does that mean, and what is to be gained from being counseled intuitively.
Would you like that now?
Yes, whip it on us.
Oh, I thought we were going to break. Well, the intuitive work came out of left field, and it took over, and my work, and I do regression with people too. My work, it's like I have these different tools in the tool bag, and so it just depends on the client at the time and what the client is needing. So a lot of people come to me for an intuitive session, and I always start off by reading a person's essence, who they uniquely are on the deepest level in this lifetime, underneath all the stuff layered on top. I could go off on a tangent, but I won't. And I look at whatever people want me to look at. I call it counseling because I am helping people to unfold. So people will often say, oh my God, they got all this insight out of the session. I've had people tell me that I've helped them transform their lives. Mm-hmm. I will make recommendations for unfolding. That could be, a modality I use, like individualized guided meditation, where we can go in and we can work on stuff from the past and we can really move energy. And so people go through shifts. It could be regression, dreams. I do the dream work. Sometimes I recommend, other modalities that I don't do. It depends on the person and exactly where the person is at that point in their lives. And, I've had positive feedback. I think it has to do with helping people unfold, gain self-confidence, really know who they are on the inside, their essence, and begin to embrace it. And the changes that can come out of this is that people may change career path. They may sync themselves up to what their purpose is. They may decide to go back to school. It all has to do with life improvement. And the life improvement comes from growth on the inside and spiritual teachings. I teach intuitive skills, yada, 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 yada.
Well, interesting.
Yeah,
How about a case study? Can you give us a specific case? I'd love to hear, just to be able to plug in the generalities into something specific. That would be wonderful.
Well, I can't divulge, too much because of confidentiality, but
Sure.
I've had some clients. A fascinating thing is I've had some clients for years who, come to me for the information, and I can tell they're not really ready to hear some things because they're not really ready to work on themselves. And then when I sense that they are, I have a client. She is the loveliest person. And, a lot of self-doubts, but beautiful energy, gifted. And she is really kind of moving from doubting herself and the people pleasing and not understanding interactions and being hurt by other people to really starting to stand back and observe and really getting into what her knowing is. And so this is starting to completely change the flavor of her life, her experience of life, because she's feeling less confused. She's allowing herself to discern where other people are coming from and whether she will give them permission to hurt her feelings. So that's just one example. And with regression, I still remember doing a regression for one person once who went to a pre-human experience, lifetime humanoid.
Wow, really? What the
Never
heck
know
was
where
that
people
like?
are going to go.
Wow.
It was fascinating.
I would imagine pre-human. I mean, obviously there's much older planets than we are, so I would imagine that there's been lives on these other planets that where they weren't human, and they were alien, and so I mean, to go from an alien to a human and then possibly to an alien again. Wow, crazy stuff.
It's wonderful stuff. It's wonderful stuff. And I know you know about all the abductees and these days and the research that's being done, and some research is actually showing that a large percentage of people who have had, UFO ET contact have opened up spiritually. They've had a spiritual awakening as a result. So this is another, I feel that we've been seeing a lot of seeding in the last 100 some years for people to be opening up spiritually. And that's just, near-death experiences obviously being, one example. Yeah. But the ET contact is another mechanism.
Exactly. I wonder if, ETs know more than we do. Maybe they're more in the know. And that's why they watch us as it seems to be very closely is a race to see how far we get with our experiences. What we do with it.
Yeah, I think there are all sorts of gradations out there with other life forms. I feel that in some areas, planets, whatever, there are probably life forms that are just as screwed up as humans and not very advanced. Mm-hmm. And I feel that there are other, other life forms on other places that are way more advanced.
Sure.
I feel that it probably runs the gamut.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say,
the ones that are visiting us obviously have to have advanced technology. We would like to think that their culture, their awareness is advanced too.
we may not be top of the food chain when it comes to that, and nowhere near close. So
that would be a great lesson for people.
It really would be. It really would be a great lesson for people to learn that, hey, maybe we're not so special after all. Exactly. Maybe there's other races and planets out there that dwarf our knowing that because we think we know everything. As a society, we think we know everything. Yes. But it's very interesting hearing you talk about this awareness from birth to all the way through life, knowing that there's more to this whole thing. I would have to say it could be distracting at the same time, though, from living this life, knowing about the other lives. That's where I would have a hard time. I'd be distracted.
Well, not really, because our human side, for all of us, because we have these emotions and we have these survival needs. And when those get activated, for example, if we're all of a sudden concerned, worried about buying food, paying the bills, that gets us into the human side, and we're not necessarily really on the higher soul level at that point. If we have a relationship issue, dark night of the soul, and we're struggling with something, or if we're grieving, that's the human. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely the human. So no, I would love to hang out in my higher soul awareness, but I bounce back and forth, and I think most of us do. And that's one point I make in the book, because I have some recommendations in the book, and I also have a meditation for getting into the higher soul awareness. And I really emphasize, if you are successful with the meditation and getting into your higher soul awareness, you remember you have to come back here because you still have your survival needs. You can't just hang out there all the time. Would love to, though.
Yeah, well, I would imagine. But, we're almost out of time, aren't we, Eric?
We are, and we need to know how people can get a hold of you and where they can find your book and contact you.
Oh, well, sure. My website is dianebrandon.com, DianeBrandon. It has contact information on there, information about sessions, etc. And my book, Born Aware, Stories and Insights from Those Spiritually Aware Since Birth, will be officially coming out on July 8th. It will be available on Amazon. I saw yesterday that already copies on Amazon.
Oh, very cool.
Barnes & Noble doesn't have them in yet. If you have a local metaphysical, New Age store, they should be able to get it in. So bookstores, online. And I'm not invisible.
So what you're saying is people can reach out to you and talk to you.
Absolutely.
If they have these feelings and thoughts and this awareness, you'd love to hear from them.
Yes, and I'm also available, obviously, for private sessions, and I also teach intuition, not just in classes, but one-on-one lessons. I've done some private coaching on that as well. So
very, very cool. Well, Diane, thanks so much for coming on the show again. Pick up that copy. You're going to want to get Born Aware, Stories and Insights from Those Spiritually Aware Since Birth. Coming out officially this July. Pick up a copy. You're going to love it. You're going to learn a whole lot about the spiritual side of yourself. So until then, take care of each other, love each other, and, this is me and Eric signing off. Have a good one. Thank you for listening to this edition of After Hours AM, and please remember to like us on Facebook and also follow us over on Twitter.